Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We are going to start a new chapter today. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, which is entitled Parikshit Cursed by a Brahmana Boy, text number 1. Sutta Vacha Yo Vedranastra Viplushto Na Matu Rudare Mritaha Anugrahad Bhagavataha Krishnasya Karmanaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Sutta Goswami said, due to the mercy of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who acts wonderfully, Maharaj Parikshit, though struck by the weapon of the son of Drona in his mother's womb, could not be burned. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, we're going to cover half of this chapter today because it's a very long one, from verses 1 through 23. So this verse that we just recited, Sutta Goswami, who is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages at Naimisharanya, he's talking about how Parikshit Maharaj was saved. We have already heard that Parikshit Maharaj was in the womb of his mother Uttara when Ashwathama had thrown a Brahmastra. And because of that, he in the womb, Parikshit Maharaj, in one place I heard Srila Prabhupada saying that he did get burned. I mean, he died because of that heat of that Brahmastra, but Lord Krishna brought him back to life. He did not burn, and he was saved in the womb of his mother. Now, the sages who were hearing this, they were struck with wonder. Hearing so much about Parikshit Maharaj, they've already heard about his administration, what a wonderful king he was, a Raja Rishi, a king and a saintly person as well, and how he punished Kali the personality of Kali Yuga. So now Sutta Goswami, he wants to describe Parikshit Maharaj's wonderful birth and death also, how he was born and how he died. So he tells the sages that Parikshit Maharaj, he was not fearful of his death when he came to know he's going to die in 7 days. He got a notice. Unfortunately, we will not get a notice that, hey, you're going to die after 7 days or 2 weeks or 1 year or no. But Parikshit Maharaj was very fortunate and he was a fully surrendered devotee of the Lord. And Prabhupada says that surrendered devotees, they are not afraid of death at all. Their only desire is to remember Krishna at the time of death. Now, to be able to do that, it requires a whole life of preparation, the whole life. Because this human life is meant for preparing for the final examination, which is the death. In the Bhagavad Gita, we've heard, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tyajat Ante Kalevaram Tam Tam Evati Kantaya Sadatad Bhava Bhavitaha. So, the devotees of the Lord, they can remember Krishna at the time of death. And Krishna says, those who remember me at the time of death, they come to my abode. So here Sutta Goswami is going to talk about how Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, why he was cursed, and what was the curse about. Srila Prabhupada says that Parikshit Maharaj was wrongly cursed. It was not right to curse him. And he was wrongly cursed by an inexperienced son of a Brahmana. But the surrendered devotee Parikshit Maharaj, he took it as the will of the Supreme Lord. This is what devotees do, that whenever there is any misery, any tribulation, any obstacle, they take that as a will of the Supreme Lord. So Sutta Goswami continues and he says that Parikshit Maharaj, he became a disciple of Shukadev Goswami, who we know is a son of Srila Vyasadeva, and he also understood the position of the Supreme Lord. You see, a bona fide spiritual master, Prabhupada says, is a must. It is a must. There is no option. There is no choice. If we really want to become self-realized, we want to go back to the spiritual world, then taking the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master is a must. Because without training, without guidance from him, it's not possible to understand Krishna at all. It's not possible to become qualified to go back. So Parikshit Maharaj, he found a bona fide spiritual master in Shukadev Goswami. And Sutta Goswami says that on the banks of the Ganges, that is where Parikshit Maharaj gave up his body. Now, how was that possible? Big question, right? So, those who dedicate their lives in performing devotional service to the Lord, by constantly remembering Him, by chanting, they are not at risk of, any confusion at the time of death. They don't get confused. Oh, what should I do? Who should I remember? Maybe my family, maybe my bank balance. No, they don't get confused at all. You see? That is the highest perfection of life, to be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. And that becomes very, very possible when we hear from realized souls. Hearing is very, very important, because until and unless we hear and understand, how will we put it into practice? It's not possible. So when Prabhupada says hearing from realized souls, means hearing from those who are in the strict disciplic succession in parampara. You see, just like the guru is qualified, the disciple also has to be qualified, needs to be submissive to the guru, and doesn't want to show the guru, hey, I know it all. No. Presents himself as a fool number one in front of the guru. And this is how the guru is able to accept the disciple. So Sutta Goswami said that as long as Parikshit Maharaj was the emperor of the world, right? In those days, the whole world was called Bharatvarsh, India, Bharat, which is now called India, a small portion. But he was the emperor of the whole world. As long as he was the king, there was no chance for Kali Yuga to flourish in his kingdom. You see? So, but as soon as Krishna left the earthly planet, Kali Yuga came in. To do what? To promote irreligious activities, like we learned: intoxication, gambling, meat eating, illicit sex, all irreligious activities came in. You see? And Parikshit Maharaj knew that in Kali Yuga, auspicious activities, they give good effects, but inauspicious activities have to be performed to render effects, you see. So Prabhupada says we should be careful that we do not become a victim of sinful activities. In fact, we cannot become victim of sinful activities till they are performed. But the results of pious activities are awarded just by thinking of it. Now, that doesn't mean we think and we don't do anything about it, no. So Parikshit Maharaj, he protected all his citizens from falling prey to sinful activities, you see. And of course, the Prabhupada says the great advantage of Kali Yuga is that just by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, just by chanting, we can be saved from the effects of Kali Yuga. See, that's how important mantra meditation is. So Sutta Goswami continues and he said, Parikshit Maharaj, he considered that less intelligent may find Kali Yuga powerful. But those who are self-controlled, they have nothing to fear because their senses are under control. And that is what we learn in the Bhagavad Gita also, to become self-controlled. And the first step is to chant the holy names, you see. See, the devotees of the Lord, they are very careful and they use their intelligence. Because Maya is very, very powerful in Kali Yuga. But for devotees, she's not, because they are surrendered, you see. So Sutta Goswami says, I have described almost everything regarding narrations about Krishna, which is in connection with Parikshit Maharaj. Those who want complete perfection, they must submissively hear about Krishna and his devotees. That is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. That we must approach a bona fide spiritual master and inquire from him submissively, which means we should go with the idea that I want to learn. I don't know it. I want to learn. That submission needs to be there, and inquire. Right? When we will inquire, then our doubts will be cleared. So, systematic hearing is important. That will lead to eternal life, right? Then it will help us to break the cycle of birth and death. Then we will be able to attain the goal of human life, which is eternal bliss. Who in this world doesn't want to be happy? Everybody wants to. But most of them don't know where is happiness and how to achieve it, right? See, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti soarjuna. Those who do not want to come back into this cycle of birth and death, they must all understand the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and his activity. So the sages, when they were hearing all this from Sutta Goswami, they are saying, you are speaking so nicely about Krishna. It feels like nectar for us, you see. And we have just begun the sacrificial fire. If you remember last class, I mentioned that this sacrifice was supposed to be performed for 1,000 years. So the sages are saying we have just begun the sacrificial fire without any certainty of its result due to imperfections. But they said they were fully satisfied just hearing about Krishna. And they said our bodies have become black from smoke, but we are pleased to hear the nectar of lotus feet of Krishna. The nectar that Sutta Goswami, you are distributing to us. Now, Prabhupada explains what does it mean full of smoke, right? Sacrificial fire, where there's fire, there is smoke. So what do they mean by we have become black with smoke? So Srila Prabhupada explains, full of smoke over here means full of doubts. Why? Because there are so many flaws, right? There are 4 defects as human beings. We are imperfect. We have imperfect senses. We are in illusion. We make mistakes and we have tendency to cheat, right? These are all imperfections. So they are in doubt, like maybe we are not perfect. And in those days, of course, there were perfect brahmanas, but in Kali Yuga, there's a scarcity of expert brahmanas. In Kali Yuga, such brahmanas are barely seen. Those who can light the fire with just chanting mantras, not using a lighter or matchstick, you see. So in Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that the best sacrifice is mantra meditation, chanting the holy names of the Lord. Now, I would suggest that when you have time, you please read verse number 13 of this chapter number 18 of Canto 1. Very, very important verse of this whole chapter. What do the sages say? They're talking to Sutta Goswami and they say, a moment's association with devotees of Krishna cannot be compared to attaining the heavenly planets or even liberation or even material prosperity. That's how important it is to associate with devotees of Krishna. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kai. Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Just a moment's association with devotee of Krishna, a sadhu, a great personality, a saintly personality, one can get liberated. You see, it is the association that actually influences our consciousness. They say, you are known by the company you keep. So if anyone sees us, associating with drunkards or those who are, involved in sinful activities, obviously all that is going to influence our consciousness, and then people will say, hey, this person also is just like those other. But when we start associating with devotees, then their devotion influences our consciousness. You see, this is how it works. So the sages are appreciating associating with Sutta Goswami. So if this is the case, then we should try to look for advanced devotees, associate with them, hear from them, get trained, and get guidance from them. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmanda Brahmite Konya Bhagavan Jeev. In this whole creation, living entities are going up and down in different species of life. Kona Bhagavan Jeev, that fortunate soul, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we'll get the seed of devotion, planted within the heart. So this is very, very important verse where the sages are talking about associating with devotees. You see? And that cannot be compared to anything material. Whether we have $1 million home, 100,000 dollar car, or this or that, we are a billionaire. Nothing can be compared to associating with the pure devotee of the Lord. Because the pure devotee, is not aspiring for liberation or going to the heavenly planets. Their only duty is loving devotional service to Krishna. You see? Because that devotional service is eternal. You see? And Sutta Goswami, being a pure devotee, the sages are very happy in his association. You see? Can anyone be satiated by hearing topics about Krishna? Do we get tired hearing about Krishna? No. It is nectar to our ears, right? There's no satiation in transcendence. See? So the sages, they are saying that Krishna's attributes, his qualities, they cannot be measured either by Brahma or Lord Shiva. Even Brahma is attracted to hearing about Krishna. So the sages are saying, oh, Sudha Goswami, you're so learned, you're the pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. Please describe Krishna's pastimes. We are anxious to hear. If you remember in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, I had mentioned 2 points that Srila Prabhupada always stresses on, that the qualification to hear Srimad Bhagavatam is submissiveness and attentiveness. We have to hear attentively the Srimad Bhagavatam. One has to be anxious to hear, right? These are the qualifications of understanding Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam has only one object of worship, that is worship of Krishna. You see? So the audience should be anxious to hear about Krishna. Now we know Sutta Goswami, he had no material motivation. He was not looking to be praised by anybody or, kept on a high esteem position. No. He spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam and didn't get paid for it, right? Nowadays we see in Kali Yuga where people they talk on Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days. It's called Bhagavad Saptah, and they get paid for it. That is not hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. That is not the bona fide speaking of Srimad. First of all, one cannot speak the Srimad Bhagavatam in 7 days. And secondly, if we get paid for it, then where is devotion? Then that means there is more material motivation, right? So the sages are telling Sutta Goswami that you please describe topics of Krishna by which Parikshit Maharaj attained the lotus feet of Krishna. You see, those topics which were spoken by Sukadev Goswami. You please narrate such topics to us because they are purifying. In fact, any topic related to Sukadev Goswami or which was spoken to Parikshit Maharaj is all purifying. So Sutta Goswami is very pleased with their inquiry, with their desire to hear about Krishna and Parikshit Maharaj. So he said, Sutta Goswami is saying that we are born in mixed caste, right? Different castes, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. We are born in mixed caste, still promoted in birthright just by serving and following great devotees, those who are advanced in knowledge. Even conversing with great souls, we get cleansed of all disqualifications, resulting in lower birth. So it doesn't matter in which family we are born, that does not matter. And Prabhupada explains that Sutta Goswami was not born in a Brahmana's family. You see, Brahmanas are learned people who have spiritual knowledge, right? So it just being born in Brahmana family also doesn't mean that we are Brahmanas. We got to qualify ourselves, right? Just like if I'm born in a doctor's family, I don't become a doctor automatically. I need to qualify myself. Similarly, if one is born in a Brahmana family, one has to still qualify to be called a Brahmana. So Sutta Goswami, he was born in a family of mixed caste, which means uncultured low family, but due to his association with Sukadev Goswami, his disqualification of inferior birth was washed away. You see? So it doesn't matter in which family are we born. But if we practice bhakti yoga, if we practice mantra meditation, then we are considered perfect. So anyone can become a pure devotee and anyone can become a bona fide guru, provided one follows the instructions of one's guru and Krishna. So Sutta Goswami, Prabhupada explains, he learned the science of Krishna from great rishis, from Sukadev Goswami, from Srila Vyasadeva. So he was very qualified to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. You see, he did not hesitate to teach Sutta Goswami by just saying, oh, Sutta Goswami, you're born in a low caste family, so I'm not going to teach you, no. So Sutta Goswami says that what to speak of those who are in the direct direction of great devotee, chanting the name of Krishna, who has unlimited potency. That's why Krishna is called Ananta, which means unlimited. So Srimad Bhagavatam, it asserts, who chant under direction of pure devotee, they get free from all disadvantages. All the disqualifications are washed away. You see, the pure devotee of the Lord does not commit any offense while chanting. That is why I always insist, first of all, we must chant every day. If possible, we must chant 16 rounds every day. If possible, we should chant them attentively without any offenses. Because chanting is not a casual activity. Just like, oh, today I feel like reading, so let me read. That's a casual activity. Today I want to go to the park. That's a casual activity. But chanting is not a casual activity at all. One needs to focus on the sound vibrations. We should hear what we are chanting, you see? Because when we chant attentively, there's going to be purification. There's no difference between Krishna and his holy name. Holy name is very, very powerful. It's going to purify us, you see. So Suta Goswami is telling the sages that we know Krishna is unlimited. No one is equal to him. No one can speak of him adequately. It's not possible. Why? Because his glories are unlimited. Even great demigods, they cannot obtain favor of Lakshmi ji, who is always with Narayan, even by prayers, but she renders service unto the Supreme Lord. Though Narayan is unwilling to take the service, but still she is performing service to Lord Narayan. Krishna does not need our service, but he takes our service to give us an opportunity to purify ourselves. He is full in himself. He is Atmaram. He is fully satisfied. He doesn't need anything from us, but still we offer our loving devotional service to him. And that includes great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. You see, people worship Lakshmi ji for favors. She renders service to the Supreme Lord, and people serve her because they want the benefits, which is money. I remember when I was young, little girl, during the festival of lights, which is called Diwali, my mother used to say that we need to light up the whole house with ghee lamps. And the reason is when there is light, then Lakshmi is going to come inside the house, which means we become rich. It doesn't work like that, you see. Even she is serving the Supreme Lord. So Suta Goswami says, who can be worthy of name of Supreme Lord Krishna? Brahma, he collected the water that was coming from the nails of the lotus feet of Krishna in order to award it to Lord Shiva as worshipful welcome. This water Ganges, which came down from the lotus feet of Krishna, that is purifying the whole universe, including Lord Shiva. So Supreme Lord is only one. You know, the conception people have, especially in India, there are many gods. That is very wrong. The expansions of Supreme Lord are limitless. Some are living entities, but they are not as powerful as the Supreme Lord's plenary expansions. Like Brahma is one of the living entities, but Lord Shiva is between the living entities and the Supreme Lord. So he's in between, you see. And it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that Brahma and Shiva, they are powerful demigods, but they worship Krishna. So he's continuing, so the Goswami, and he says that those who are self-controlled, they get attached to Krishna. And then suddenly they can give up material attachment, which includes body and mind. And they go away to they attain the highest perfection of renounced order of life, which means they become renounced in consciousness because their mind and body is under control. So only those who are self-controlled, they get attached to Krishna. And that is what Bhagavad Gita teaches us, right? It shows us with different examples how we should control our mind and body and senses by suitable practice and detachment. And that starts with mantra meditation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Self-control means not eating too much, nor little, not sleeping too much, nor little, coming out of this bodily concept of life, always thinking I'm the body, how to satisfy the body. No. You see, Prabhupada says we cannot curb our senses forcibly. We just need to give them proper engagement, right? Like eating. We eat, but not too much or too little, but eat only that is offered to Krishna. That is how we can control the tongue, right? Use our ears to hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, to chant and hear. This will help us to control our senses. And in the process, it will lead to tolerance, patience, humility, compassion, all these wonderful qualities, right? But when we forget Krishna, then we get attracted to Maya. You see, then we become dependent on Maya instead of depending on Krishna. But without Krishna's mercy, there is no hope. So, first of all, what we are doing, our first step is to take on knowledge. But when we take on knowledge, it's important to take it with humility and not become proud of the knowledge. So Sutta Goswami is saying, as the birds fly in the sky as far as their capacity allows, so do the learned devotees. They describe the Lord as far as their realization allows. You see? It is Krishna who gives us that realization. You see? We cannot estimate the pastimes of Krishna because they are unlimited. So Sutta Goswami is saying he will describe Krishna's pastimes as far as he has realized them. You see? Only Krishna can describe himself, but his devotee can describe as far as Krishna gives him the power of description. So, this is how we can understand that associating with pure devotees, like the sages were associating with Sutta Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj was associating with Sukadev Goswami, one can get influenced. The consciousness can get influenced in a positive way. So it's very, very important to associate with pure devotees of the Lord. So I have completed verses 1 through 23 today, and we'll continue in next class from verse number 24 till the end of the chapter. But before I conclude, I wanted to let you all know that next week, next Sunday, there will be no class. So we will meet week after next. So I'm going to stop now.